with my friend Julia Kushner from Keller Williams Realty. Julia, thank you for being on the Rockland News podcast today.
Oh, thank you for having me.
Totally. So we just finished our usual Small Business Tuesday meeting, and we had it was about 10 people here, so it's starting to build.
It was a pretty good meeting, yeah.
Pretty psyched about that. And also Stephanie and Mary, Rocky, Lauren were here from the North Rockland Chamber. So springtime, business is starting to thrive again. And now you're involved in real estate. And by the way, we're at the Stony Point Pancake Factory recording this. So if you hear some background noise, it's because we have a lot of guests in here. Stony Point Pancake Factory is doing very well over here. But tell us about the real estate market. What's going on? It's obviously a lot of numbers going up and down.
Yeah, so as many of you know, it's been seller's market, I would say, for the past four years or so, 4.5, since COVID started. But I think we're finally coming to balanced market.
Finally.
It's not buyer's market yet, but it's balanced market, like more or less how things should be. So before, during COVID or post-COVID, with such limited inventory, it wasn't unusual to waive appraisal, inspection, give your firstborn child and all of that, right? Like whatever it takes to get the house offer accepted. So right now, it's more like a reasonable negotiation. So interest rates are still up there. They're still around 7%, give or take, depending on credit score, depending on personal financial situation, and of course the feds who are establishing that rate. Many people are still waiting for that rate to go down. I keep telling my clients or investors or first-time home buyers, marry the house but date the interest rate. So if it's a good opportunity came in, say for investor, if the cash flow makes sense, you can always refinance a couple of months from now or next year whenever the rate is more favorable. But I also tell people, listen, we're not going to see those rates that we've seen, at 2%, 3% rate. So maybe if we're lucky, we come to like 5% or so around that number, which of course will still stimulate the economic activity and it will help. But then again, it will create influx of buyers on the market, and what it will do to the prices, of course, they will likely go up, and they've been continuously going up again in the past 5 years.
Now, is the mortgage rate still generally tied to the 10-year Treasury note? Is that along the lines of how it still fluctuates? There's obviously a lot of things going on.
Correct. Yes, they're reviewing all economic factors, unemployment, purchasing capacity, and then they reevaluate. So even if the inflation right now is still under control, like so it's about 2%, at least that's official version, unofficial, I think a lot of us are feeling it's a lot more than that, but that's what the authorities are telling us. So, but they still look at overall economic health pictures. Of course, there was uncertainty with the market right now with the tariffs, and now yesterday we had that news about 90-day agreement that the Trump administration reached. So hopefully it will have some positive impact and some certainty in people's mind that that at least for 90 days we kind of know what will happen, and what happens after that no one knows, but at least there's some negotiation is happening, as opposed to before, like let's make it 130% and let's see what happens. So because it affects builders, like a lot of builders are scared, a lot of investors are scared what will happen. So if I were to buy a land, or so if I were to renovate a property, how much it will cost me. I have like say one client who is purchasing an elevator for the building, and he was like very nervous to put this order in before the tariffs, before the prices go up significantly.
Yeah, absolutely. And we purchased back in 2021, and we got lucky, quite frankly, because the mortgage rates were down and we were able to do the whole deal. But I have friends that feel the pinch. I have colleagues that very well employment-wise, but they look at the mortgage rates, let's just say about 6 months ago, and they're like, I'm not buying anything. I'm waiting for it to come down. So hopefully if the percentages end up around the 5% as far as mortgage rates, it should continue to stimulate the market, because you see the spring buyers coming out, right?
True.
You're fairly busy. Every time you're at the Small Business Tuesday meeting here.
I know, you see me submitting offers, responding to messages, because I feel like here in New York we're so conditioned to that high-paced environment that if you don't respond to a message, like, oh, how come you didn't respond? It's only been 15 minutes, so you have constant pressure. But again, to your point, Tom, that a lot of friends are waiting, or clients waiting for interest rates to come down, again, what it will do, it will stimulate the market, and not only our friends or my clients come out, right? It's everyone else, and
Yeah.
what it will do, the price again will go up. So either way, life gets you. So I think it's still important to focus on the right property, regardless of the interest rate, because then once they go down, you'll face a lot more competition.
Yeah, I brought this into the group, and we talked about the Cash Flow game by Robert Kiyosaki. I won't go too far off script here, but you have, before I brought the game into the group, you advocated for real estate as let's just say a medium of investment, a form of investment in order to be able to develop cash flow. So on the residential side, people can purchase properties and use them but there's also commercial opportunities as well, if I'm not mistaken.
Definitely commercial or mixed use. So 2025 was a lot of mortgages, commercial mortgages are due, where unfortunately payments may or may not be made by commercial property owners. So some will be able to refinance, some will not be able to do it. So there could be some foreclosures in that way. But even aside from that, so there could be evaluation of cash flow on a mixed use or commercial. Of course, commercial considered to be more risky, but then the returns typically are higher. Whereas residential, yeah, we're looking at maybe 6 to 8%. That's what we get, and a lot of investors are telling me, well, if the mortgage rates are 7%, how does it make sense for me? But then again, it's overall picture. So we're getting depreciation on the tax return, then we get property appreciation over years. So it's sort of, it's not only one-sided picture where we're just focused on that cap rate or capitalization rate. It's a lot more than that. So
A lot of factors,
so
yeah.
real estate, it's of course very different from stock market. It's not like a one day or 1 month strategy. It's more like a yearly strategy. Build your portfolio of rental properties, whether they are residential, mixed use, or maybe commercial if you feel more comfortable with that. And then replace your passive income, replace your income with passive income. And that's what Robert Kiyosaki strategy is all about. Have that
Yeah.
freedom in life, so get out of the rat race. That's what we've been discussing, helping each other and helping other people to live life to the fullest, because we all deserve it.
Why the heck not, right? Well, Julia, it is always a pleasure to have you on the show, and I'm sure you're going to have many other spots. Quite frankly, ask, and I will set up a spot for you. But it's always a pleasure seeing you on Tuesdays at our Small Business Tuesday meeting. So we hold these every single Tuesday at the Stony Point Pancake Factory, located in the Patriot Square, the facility here. Really nice area. And if you're interested, if you're a business owner or a business professional that's looking to connect with some really like-minded professionals in the area, head over to the Stony Point Pancake Factory at around, what is it, like 8:30 in the morning?
Yeah. I was here at 8 for the chamber meeting. It's definitely a pleasure to be here. One thing I should mention, so I'm a part of Cash Flow Breakfast Club, and even though it's called breakfast, it's really more like a dinner club. So because it happens around 6 p.m., 5:45 it technically starts, but usually we wait for people to come from work and we start around maybe 6:30, and today we're discussing short-term and long-term versus long-term rental strategies in investment portfolios.
Yeah.
And that's usually in Rye. You can look up the link on Meetup. Just type in Cash Flow Breakfast Club Westchester. It should come up with all the details like timing and location. And again, pleasure to be here. Enjoy the rest of your Tuesday.
And Julia, how do we get a hold of you? I know your website, and also I'm just going to bring it up on the screen, but please provide your phone number.
So it's 845-598-6909, and my website is yuliakushner.com. So I go by Yulia and by Julia. I always like to joke, don't call me late for dinner, but it's a Julia spelled with a Y. So yuliakushner.com or .kw.com.
Yeah.
And it has all my contact information, but my phone number again is 845-598-6909. Feel free to call or text me if I can be of any help.
Wonderful. Julia Kushner from Keller Williams Realty, thank you for being on the Rockland News podcast today.
Thank you.
We just shook hands.
Awesome.
You
Thank
are
you so much.
a natural. You are an absolute natural.